Hey, hello, what's up, and welcome into this week's episode of the Geek Garage podcast, where we are following up our movie Hot Takes Love Edition with our movie Hot Takes Dislike Edition.
Yeah, we are.
Hello, David. That's David, show founder, as always. I'm Ted, of course. And the reason we decided to call this dislike rather than hate is because hate is a strong word, and you shouldn't hate people, except for the Dutch.
Why the Dutch? They came up with the Danish, right? It wasn't that.
No one knows. It's lost to history, unfortunately.
Yes.
Like I said, we are following up our Hot Takes mini-series about movies. The first one was the Love Edition. We published that a couple weeks ago, right around Valentine's Day. This one will be the dislike version for movies that are popular that David and or I personally do not care for that much or do not think that highly of.
Yes.
The format will be pretty much the same as the last episode that we did on this, wherein we'll cover some of our listeners' choices from the Facebook group poll, and then we'll dive into our personal picks, which, of course, that's what everybody wants to hear. David, before we get started, how's your week been, bud?
It's been interesting, I think is the correct word. So, for people that are new to the show, we live in Middle Tennessee. And
AKA the frozen wastelands this week.
Right. I mean, it's basically just the South and a little bit of the Northeast and just everyone except California, I think, just got plummeted.
Yeah, fuck them.
They get wildfires. I feel like
you live in a desert full of fire and death. You get what you goddamn deserve.
It's basically like mini Australia. But anyways, the point that I'm making is like, it's been like you said, a frozen wasteland here, and my kids have been out of school all week, and it's been hell. To be honest, I'm still working from home, as are you, but the kids, they are, they've grown restless and they've become beasts.
Tyrants.
Tyrants.
Aliens.
Other than that, my week has been great. How about you, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one who likes to be cooped up. Like it's weird because like I'm a homebody, I'm a shut-in, but like only by choice. Like I have that weird fight or flight option where it's like I need to know that I can just bug out at any moment. And I haven't really had that this week because, the roads have been fucked to shit because, we live in the South. It's not supposed to happen here. All right. We're not prepared for shit like this.
We just don't have the infrastructure and the resources to run snowplows like the North does. They're just like, we have snowplows for every other corner. No problem.
Yeah, I was talking to a couple of the guys I work with, and they're up in like one of them was in Chicago, one of them's in the Detroit area. And they were like, oh, yeah, we got about a foot of snow, but the plows all came out and did everything. I was like, dude, the plows came out here and fucking one of them flipped over.
That's
one of
true.
Our snow plows jackknifed. I was like, dude, we are not prepared for this at all.
Yeah, it was
like the first episode of The Walking Dead, like, don't open dead inside. They pretty much could have done that around the entire state of Tennessee.
Yeah, pretty much.
Don't open snow inside.
Yeah, it's been something, all right.
Yeah, I mean those are pretty minor complaints, all things considered.
Right.
We're joking about it because it didn't affect us too terribly. For some other people, they weren't as lucky. So, donate, help out where you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To the people that need it.
Right.
And there's nothing funny about that. Way to bring the mood down, Ted. But yeah, that's kind of been our week in a nutshell. David, do you have anything else you'd like to go over before we get to the episode proper?
I don't think so. Other than just a kind of a makeshift shout out to our just listeners in general and the new listeners. I know we've been kind of doing this the past couple episodes, but our numbers have been steadily going up still, which means that we're probably getting new listeners. So if you're brand new to the podcast, welcome. Thank you for choosing to listen to our incoherent, incessant ramblings.
We hope very accurate.
We hope that you don't positively regret your decision, and then smash that unsubscribe button.
That's right. Smash that motherfucking unsubscribe button, dislike button.
Right. Those will be the people that give us the 1-star
Yeah.
reviews.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can't please everybody all the time, and if you're us, you can't please anybody any of the time. So it
Pretty
works out, I
much.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that's that. Like David said, to just echo that. Thanks to all of the subscribers, new and old. It's very cool and very humbling that people want to hear us jabronis talk about anything for any amount of time. So thank you. Hopefully you're going to regret it. I don't know. I was going to say something. I was just like, Ted, don't lie to these fucking people. They deserve better. All right, David, hit the music. Let's get this shit show on the road.
All right. Boop.
Okay, so David, let's talk about the criteria really quickly.
Sure.
We should have probably done that already, but well prepared, etc.
Hey, better late than never.
That's right. So the criteria for this is pretty simple. We're going to cover movies that are widely accepted or loved, adored, etc., but that David and/or I or our listeners for that portion of the show dislike or outright hate. We try to stay away from the word hate, but again, the Dutch, it's fine. Like the first episode, we're not going to debate whether a movie is good actually or not objectively. It's all about your personal feelings. You're allowed to have those. All right, so we're going to start it out now officially, like a ref with a whistly.
Right, and start with the Facebook poll.
Yes, so these are the results from the Facebook poll that David was kind enough to put up on our group page. Fans and listeners of the Geek Garage podcast, something like that. David, start it off for us, please, sir.
Sure. So John A., he said that pretty much every Monty Python movies, I forget his exact quote, but it was something to the effect of he didn't find them funny. And I had to be honest, like, I personally find them funny, but I didn't always. And this is something I think has come up on the podcast once or twice, but when I was in high school, I didn't really find British humor and just Monty Python in general funny at all. But it was just something that I kind of had to grow into. Like, I think after watching The Office for a long time and that dry humor, it was like a good mix of like American humor and British humor. So it kind of brought me up to speed. But anyways, I'm detracting from John A.'s pick. Yeah. I feel you. I mean, I get it, but I dig the Monty Python stuff now. So
yeah, comedy is a tough one because, as we talked about on the first episode of this, it's I in my opinion the most subjective
for sure
genre.
Yeah.
Because what is funny to you is very different than what is funny to somebody else, or at least potentially different. So, I mean, that's a fair pick. I know that's a pretty common series or group that people are not. You're either really into Monty Python or you're not. Basically, there's not people that are just like, this is funny, but whatever. It's either like super into it or not at all.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty polarizing. I agree.
Yeah. Friend of the show, Megan Z, had 2 picks. Well, actually more like 9 picks, but one of them's a franchise. So the first is La La Land, and then she said the Mission Impossible franchise, which La La Land, I mean,
have you seen
I like
that,
all the I like all the pieces of that movie, but I don't think it adds up to a good movie, if that makes sense. Like, I love jazz, I like Ryan Gosling, I like the Emma that's in that movie. No, I can't remember. I always get all the Emmas confused. I don't know.
There's like 5,000, but it's Emma
there are
Stone.
too many fucking Emmas. That's the problem, right there. Name your kid something else, people. Yeah, and Damien Chazelle, Gazelle, however you say his last name. Cheezel? Cheese it.
Damien Cheezus.
Yes, Cheezus and Rice. The writer director that, like, I think he's talented and he's got other movies I like, but something about this one just didn't add up for me, so I definitely get it. And then the Mission Impossible franchise, I understand where she's coming from, but this is just my personal opinion here, David, but I think that at least the first 3 movies are also different Like they're all different
Y-
directors and all that. And then I think it's
yeah.
4 through 7 now. I'm pretty sure are all the uh, same crew and writer director.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty much the same wrecking crew
Right.
for from like either 3 onward or 4 onward, kind of like you said. It's got, obviously it's,
Cruise.
Tom Cruise, but you have Simon Pegg, you have
Mm-hmm.
Ving Rhames,
Big
and
rooms.
Ving Rhames. Big dick baby swinging past you. I don't know why I did that. But yeah, it's him and well, there was
Other
that one
people.
guy, right? Yeah, they're just etc. Other people,
Yeah.
um,
Etc.
right? But yeah, you are right. Like the first 3 are vastly different, and I think the directors have
Yeah.
a decent.
So I think that it's almost unfair to judge them all on the same playing field because like 1 is a very De Palma movie, 2 is a
Mhm.
very John Woo movie, 3 is I don't remember, and then 4 through 35 or whatever are all just like let's have Tom Cruise do increasingly insane things.
Right, yeah. I know 3 and I believe 4 were J.J. Abrams, and
Okay.
that I think 3 was my favorite because had Philip Seymour Hoffman playing a
Yeah.
villain or a bad
Yeah.
guy, and
Rest in
he
peace, buddy.
fucking
Don't do
killed it.
drugs.
Uh, I know.
Yeah.
I think if I recall correctly, Megan's main gripe was just Tom Cruise in general, but she did
That's
point out,
fair. That is a fair point.
but she did point out
I'm on
Mission.
board with that.
Right, she did point out Mission Impossible specifically, though. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I
Okay.
wanted to make mention of that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, next up we got Sarah N. She mentioned the Marvel movies, and I was like, "Hey, Ted's got a friend."
We'll
uh,
we'll
I
put a
mean,
pin in that. Believe me.
yeah, I actually put that, or like I tried my best to comment on everyone, just to say
Hmm.
something about it, uh, and yeah, I put like, or she was like, "This will probably get me booted from the group," but dot dot dot, pretty much all the Marvel movies, and I was like, "You should listen to this episode because it's gonna get
Yeah.
interesting."
We'll put a pin in that.
Yeah,
Friend of the show, Kayla J put the never ending story. Um, this is an amazing pick. I just want that to be known right now. This
yeah.
may be the bit like we should shut the podcast down after this one because this is nothing's topping this. To be honest with you.
I told her, I was like, as I was scrolling, this hit like all the hot take, like bullet point
Yeah.
criteria, whatever, because this movie
Yeah.
is pretty universally loved, like if you
I
grew
was
up with it.
yeah. Like I don't I can't recall anyone ever that I've known saying anything bad about this movie. Like it's not my favorite movie in the world. I haven't seen it since I was a kid, and I
Hmm.
was like 6 when I saw it, so I probably was either like an annoyed 6-year-old that I had to sit still for that long, or like enthralled because I was right in the wheelhouse. I honestly don't remember. I've been hit in the head too many times, but like this pick is fucking outstanding.
Yeah. um isn't this the one where like the horse gets sucked into like.
Betray you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that was the horse's name, and I was a huge Atreyu fan, like the
Like
band.
the band.
Yes. And so when I like when they were like Atreyu, I was like the band. They were like, no, the horse. I was like, what the fuck are you talking
There's a fucking
about?
horse.
When was the band a horse? They were like, when was the horse a band?
Yeah.
It was a
There's
weird
several.
conversation.
I can tell. It's yeah. Um,
Right.
wow, that's a band I haven't thought about in a long, long time.
Yeah, I used to listen to them a lot.
I think I have or had their first 2 albums,
Yeah, yeah,
and then
they're
I
early
turned
stuff.
16. So,
And then I figured out what good music was. No,
right.
I honestly I listened to Atreyu while cleaning my house about 2 or 3 months ago,
Mhm.
and I can still dig it. Like it
It's
was a good time.
it's been a long time since I've listened to him. I might still be into him. I just like I said, my taste kind of shifted a little bit at that time, that moment in
Right.
time. So anyway,
I just
moving right along.
right. I just remember opening, like buying one of their CDs and opening it up and realizing that every single person in the band sings in one form or another. I was
Right.
like, this band has 6 vocalists.
I
uh,
won't say the name of the band, but we're getting off on a tangent, but so it goes.
yeah.
I won't say the name of the band, but I once saw a hardcore band with 3 full-time vocalists. That's all they did. None of them played an instrument. They all were vocalists.
That's a
3.
lot. That's a lot of vocalists. Like,
Yeah, it was as terrible as you would think.
yeah, my opinion, like 2, that's your max right there.
Yeah, and they both got to be good for it to work.
Right. I mean, like you could have 2, like a hardcore band, you could have a clean vocalist, a screamer, and then your drummer can do like backup vocals. Like
Right.
that kind of makes sense, but um or like one of your guitarists, but either way, yeah. Illegal segue. Moving on. Um yeah.
That's the kind of hard-hitting commentary you only get from the Geek Garage podcast.
Right.
A tangent about Atreyu, who nobody has thought about in 15 years.
Precisely. Is this my pick or
Yeah, sure.
I forgot what order.
I think so.
Yeah. Anyways, so Ryan P. He picked. He had a bunch, and I think a lot of these are really good ones. Harry Potter, the Lord of the Rings prequels. He said Lord of the Rings prequels, so I'm assuming he meant
I'm
the
assuming
Hobbit.
he means the Hobbit films.
Yeah, the Hobbit trilogy. Kick-Ass Super Troopers. We're gonna put a pin in that one. Clerks. The original It's. The one with what's his
Tim
name?
Curry?
Tim Curry, yes. Breakfast Club, Reservoir Dogs, Vanilla Sky, and Donnie Darko. Yeah,
This guy really went all out.
he did. I mean, he's definitely the one that laid all the cards out on the table the most. But
I find myself both heavily agreeing and heavily disagreeing with him, which is fine. That's the point of the episode. That's why they're hot takes, right? But
yeah.
Yeah. Does he like anything? I don't...
Oh no, he does. He chimed in a lot for the when we did all the horror episodes back in October.
Oh, okay.
But no, I mean, I used to work with Ryan many moons ago, but yeah, it makes sense that he's not into like Harry Potter, and I mean, I
yeah,
don't.
I mean,
he is the first
like
person I've ran into that doesn't like Kick-Ass. That's the one I think I'm the most curious about for some reason.
It's funny that you bring that up because I was going to bring that up too, but my thing was going to be like, is it that popular of a movie? Like, I didn't even realize it was like that, you know.
Right. Yeah, it's, I guess that could be considered part of the overall criteria is like, it's a well-known movie. And Kick-Ass, well,
I mean, it did get a sequel, so.
Right. So it's not like it's a movie that no one's heard about, but it doesn't have the clout that like the MCU films have.
Sure.
Or, you know,
right.
Harry Potter. So
I think that by and large, I think this is a good list that Ryan submitted. Like, you know, like I said, I think that there are some actual hot takes on here, as well as some more like lukewarm takes, but that will probably get some people heated enough. Like, I would like to put a pin in the Breakfast Club because I have a lot of thoughts about that movie.
I can't wait.
But also, like another one that just throws me for a loop was like Vanilla Sky. I mean, I know it was like a big movie, but like nobody's talked about that movie in 20 years, man. Like, who has strong opinions about fucking Vanilla Sky?
Yeah, I don't know. I want to meet that person and be like, are you okay? Is everything okay at home?
Join us in 2005 where you still haven't made it. So anyway,
right.
Friend of the show Daniel S picked, and this is a big one, any post 1990s horror movie.
Yeah, I asked him, like, when I commented, I was like any, like The Ring or Hereditary or The Lighthouse or like, and I kept on naming them, and he was like, Yeah, I haven't really seen any of those, and I was like, "Can I make you a list?" He was like, "Sure." So I got to make him a list of good horror movies that came out after the 1990s.
Yeah, there've been a few. Um,
Couple.
I kind of agree with him though. By and large, like I feel like the '90s was maybe the '80s, but like the '90s was kind of like the decade that all the horror movies became the same film for a
Mm,
while,
right.
and it was all like or one of like three. And so it was like the movie that was trying too hard to be Scream, the movie that was trying too hard to be the Blair Witch Project,
Right.
or the movie that was trying too hard to be different, or like ripping off a Japanese film that was much better.
Right. Like, it's time to subscribe to the ideal of if it came out after Killer Clowns from Outer Space, it was a mistake.
That is true. I had a fairly heated argument along similar lines with a friend of mine who is of the staunch opinion that no film cinema peaked in like 1978 and it's all been downhill since.
Oh God.
And I was like, "Fuck, he might be right."
Don't you
uh,
put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
I mean, I definitely think that the '70s has been thus far the high watermark for cinema, but there have been a lot of great movies since then. So it's like, dude,
Yeah.
come on, you got to get with it. But moving right along, a legal segue. Friend of the show, Brooke F picked The Room. Now I'm a little confused because there are like 15 movies called The Room. So I don't know. I'm assuming she means either A, the Tommy Wiseau film,
That
or
one.
B, the one with
Brie
your
Larson.
favorite late, yeah, Brie Larson.
That was
And
just
I'm
Room.
oh
No,
my, well,
yeah, that was
excuse
just
me.
Room. Yeah. Anyways, I forget exactly what she cited. It was something to the effect of she wasn't a fan of the of Tommy Wiseau because he. I mean, this is pretty common knowledge, especially if you saw what was it? The James
the
Franco,
disaster, the
yeah, the
disaster
disaster
artist.
artist. Yeah,
Yeah.
how he treated his a lot of his staff and especially his female
Mm,
co-stars and co-workers like kind of like garbage.
I
So
was not
that's
aware of that.
yeah, um, that's
I hate him for other reasons, like he made a mockery of the thing that I love, cinema. So,
yeah, dude. Like you have like prime real estate in San Francisco. Why don't we just go film up on your roof? No, it's green screen, soundstage. It's Hollywood movie.
yeah, he might have actual brain damage. So I find it hard
It's
to make fun of him, but I also hate him completely.
yeah, quite possible.
Hmm.
He I don't know. He loves American football and he likes making
Well,
Hollywood
good.
movies. But
Well, I don't know if we could go that far, but
right, it's just some scenes on film
yeah,
that's available on YouTube.
for reasons unbeknownst to man.
Right.
Let's move on, David.
Yes, sounds like a great idea. Um, Gail, a friend of the show and friend IRL, she put Lord of the Rings. I think this is a pretty good hot take as well, like solid hot take.
Yeah, this is definitely a hot take. Almost on par with a never-ending story.
Yeah.
And the only reason I say almost is because I think there are enough people that just like don't care about the Lord of the Rings to like have an opinion on it. I do know that the people who like it like fucking love it.
Hmm. Yeah, she basically quoted Clerks 2 when she's like, "Yeah, it's just a bunch of dudes walking." And I was like,
That's not incorrect. For long stretches,
"Yes,
it's not wrong.
right. There is some stuff in between, but yes, it is dudes walking
Yeah.
for lots and lots of hours,
And talking
especially
about food.
right. Lambus bread. Oh, look,
Yeah.
more lambus bread. Uh, yeah,
It's not a bad pick though at all.
yeah.
Friend of the show, Drew N picked DC, by which I'm assuming the DC like uh,
EU.
cinematic universe, EU. What do you
Yeah,
want to call
extended
it?
universe.
Yeah, that's stupid. Not the pick. The pick is fine. Just the title, the branding, and then the
Sure.
Divergent series. Which again, do people?
Yeah,
Maybe I'm
no.
mixing up the criteria, but like, do enough people care about the Divergent series to have strong opinions on it?
So he may be in he may be living in a bubble where he's surrounded by a bunch of people who love it. He
Hmm,
may I know he's a family man. I believe he has a daughter or
okay.
daughters, so he could be surrounded by a bunch of people that love this fucking series,
All
and
right.
then
Well,
like so
then.
know a lot of people by association who also love it, like friends
Hmm,
and whatever. I I took Lindsay to go see I think the first one, and it's fucking garbage. So
yeah.
I'm
Um.
sorry
I,
if you're listening and like the series. I don't like it, and I think Kate Winslet was garbage in it. I mean she's a great actor, but yeah, this source material is
this was a
not good.
paycheck movie,
Yeah, correct. Yes, this fed the kids at home.
right? Um. This is probably because I live in my own bubble where movies like this don't exist, except on the tertiary. But like, if you put up on one screen, like if you set up two screens in front of me, and on one of them you put a Divergent film, any of them, I don't know how many there are, but one of the Divergent films, and on the other one you put the Maze Runner, and then you put a gun to my head and said, "Tell me which is which." I tell you to fucking shoot me immediately because I wouldn't know. I wouldn't at any point learn or care to learn. Um, I know that Jennifer Lawrence is in one of them. I don't know which one, and I don't care to know.
uh, I don't know if she's in either of them. I I
Isn't she
I don't.
the volunteers tribute girl in one of them?
That's that's the Hunger Games. And you
How
said
many of these
Maze?
fucking series are there?
As long as there will be young adults, there will be unnecessary young adult books and then subsequent movies.
My brain is
Unfortunately,
literally. You ever just get a pain right behind your eyeballs? That's what
I
I'm
think
feeling right
that's.
now.
I think I have a tumor. I come home and what do I see in the tree? It's a
King
fucking
of the
king of
fucking
the
jungle.
jungle.
Go to the next pick.
That's right, monkey. Play my head. Anyways, friend of the show, Mimi B, she picked the Dark Knight trilogy. This is a
This is a
uh,
very good pick.
good hot take. I think that's all that I said. I was like, good pick.
Yeah,
Like I wasn't
it's a
even
very good
mad.
pick.
Like I love the Dark Knight trilogy. I I know it's they're directed by Chris Nolan, so obviously they have some problems. Um, but but out of all the Batman movies, and I don't know how many Batman trilogies there are. I don't think there's a ton.
I think this is the only trilogy, at least
Really?
so far.
Okay.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember
because
if any.
it's Batman and the Batman Returns, which are kind of like a duo for
Mhm,
Burton. Then
right.
Schumacher had Forever and Robin,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
we forgot about Batman for like 10 years collectively as a society. As a result, and then Nolan came in with Begins, The Dark Knight, and then Dark Knight Rises, and then
Right.
there was just the one DCEU Batman movie,
Hmm.
which
Yeah.
was more like a Superman movie, but there's too fucking many Batman movies. Jesus Christ. And we're getting another one. And I'm going to go
Uh,
see it because I fucking hate myself.
no, it's because you love yourself and it looks amazing.
It does. The fucking yeah, it looks great.
Yeah.
Uh, this is a good pick. I'll have some more thoughts on this when we get to my picks too. But
Yeah.
yeah. Friend of the show, Robert E. picked Willow. I have no idea what this even is. So David, you're going to have to take this one.
Yeah, I said the same thing. I was like,
Okay. Well, apparently
well,
there's a movie that is well loved that is
okay,
hated by Robert E.
so the way it was explained to me, like I commented, like I know of the movie, but I have not seen it, and I couldn't tell you what it's about. And like before, he said that, like he said Willow. These are the reasons why. Um, and they were very concise. Like Robert's he's definitely a movie guy. Uh, and after I said like I can't really comment, but obviously you have some strong feelings about this, so congratulations. And someone else came in and they were like, Willow is basically what um what's his name? George Lucas made because he couldn't get the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what she said. I
All
could be
right.
wrong, and I could be making an ass out of myself. I'm just talking about the director. I'm pretty sure she said was him. But anyways, yeah,
Only
since
we cared enough to Google any of this information. David, on with the next pick.
right, Tai G, he mentioned The Princess Bride. I thought that was a pretty good hot take as well.
I'm actually going to change it and say that this is probably the best hot take of the list.
Yeah, this is a movie that is one of the few movies that we have in our arsenal, you and I, Ted, that we don't bring up because we just understand that we're not going to see eye to eye on it,
Yeah,
and so there's really no point in talking about it.
that's fair.
Yeah, but yeah, it's a great hot take. Uh, I mean, this movie, like, in my opinion, there like it's every single genre in one movie, and it's got love, it's got sword fighting, um, it's got one of the best introductions of all time. Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya.
That is a good line. I'll give you
Yeah,
that.
but yeah, great hot take. So
I agree. Friend of the show and former guest, Tiffany E.
mhm.
She selected basically every Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey movie from the late 90s and early 2000s, which, okay, that's fair.
It's
That's very
yeah,
fair.
it's I thought that was hilarious because uh it I mean, that's definitely a hot take because if she said Adam Sandler movies from like 2008 forward, I'd be like, those movies
Yeah.
are not as strong as like the close to his SNL days. But yeah, I think this is a true hot take where Adam Sandler and Jim Carrey were kind of like in their prime. They were hot off the heels of
Yeah.
SNL, and so
And in
yeah,
Living Color, yeah.
yeah, right, yeah. I was about to say Jim Carrey was in Living Color, but yeah, that's definitely a good one. Mary J, she mentioned Avatar. We're gonna put a pin in this because I have some feelings about this one as well. So,
Mm.
yeah. And then last pick. Uh, sorry, go ahead, Ted.
And finally, friend of the show and frequent poll voter, I guess,
Dancer.
Steve-O. Yeah. Pole dancer. Good for him. I guess. Steve-O L selected Frozen. At the risk of keeping my relationship good, I respectfully decline to comment.
I love Frozen. I have no qualms with this movie. Uh,
I was talking to my girlfriend Casey about this upcoming episode before we recorded. I told her that we were going to record and told her what we were going to talk about, and she was like, "Oh, I can picture it now. I'm Ted, and I hate every Disney movie ever fucking made." Blah 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 blah. And I was just like, "Well, now I can't do it." Like she called me out, right? I can't just do it now.
okay, so I I have some thoughts on Frozen. So Ted, if you want me to say them for you, I'll definitely
I
do.
would like to, at this moment, and for this moment only, live vicariously through you
Yeah,
as you
just
shit on Frozen.
right. Just add your thoughts and feelings to the notes, and I'll read them, and I'll just act like they're my own, so that no one's the wiser. But no, like, so Lindsay, she just introduced Aaron to Frozen, and I
I'm
was
sorry.
like, yeah,
Truly, deeply sorry.
on whom's authority? Like, who told you? Who told you it was
What
okay to
gives you the
introduce?
right?
What gives you the right? What gives you the right to introduce our daughter to such nonsense?
How
But
dare you be a mother and do mothering things?
right, but she watched the first one and I think she liked it okay, but then she watched the second one, which I have not seen, but have heard like from several sources that it is fucking sad as shit. And when it was over, like Lindsay went to go check on Aaron because she thought she heard crying, and it was just she was just weeping, and it wasn't like crying like let me out of my room, or like, like I accidentally hurt myself, or whatever. Like, it wasn't autistic crying. It was like, this movie fucking blows.
Your
Like,
wife gave your daughter PTSD from Frozen 2. Is that what I am to understand?
yes, like that
Oh
is
my god.
absolutely correct.
Wow. Well, let's move on before we get the goddamn Child Protection Services called on us.
Right, yeah.
Thank you to everyone who participated in the poll and
Yeah.
brought up some really terrible memories out of David's family. Thank you, Steve-O, for that. Let's just move right along to our picks. David, would you like to start, sir?
Yeah, and I'm gonna come out the gate swinging with this. I got Avatar. This
Now,
movie.
before we get chased off with pitchforks,
It's
David, let's clarify.
it's
You
not
mean
the last
just Avatar, not the Last Airbender, right?
right, yes. The one with the blue people that used a storyline that has already been used about 17,000 times by other previous movies, like Fern Gully
Yes.
and Dances with Wolves in South Park.
The Secret of Nim.
Just so many movies.
Several, really.
Yeah.
Pocahontas, like a lot.
So this movie was, like Ted, you said this at the beginning, and we said it in the first episode. This isn't an assessment on the objectivity of the movie, whether it's objectively good or not.
It's not, but that's not what this is about.
Right. It's, like I said, it's visually stunning, but that's about it. Like, it's a huge advancement for, like, kudos James Cameron, huzzah. But, like,
Living your best life.
right. It was overhyped for me. Like, everyone was like, "Oh my god, you need to go see Avatar." And I went and I was like, I'll never get those 3 hours back. Thank you very much.
It's so long.
Yeah, it is very
like,
long.
I remember watching it because I was just like, nah, James Cameron, you're not fooling me with this shit. I'm not going to see this in IMAX. I'm just not. And I remember a friend of mine, my friend that I was living with at the time, bought it like the day it came out and was so hyped to watch it. He was like, to have me watch it. So he brings it back to the apartment and he's just like, all right, clear your Saturday night calendar, boss. We're watching Avatar. And I was just like, how long can it be? I remember we were like 90 minutes into the movie. And it seems at that point, it's like starting to wind down. You're going to get to the big finale. And I'm like, all right, 2-hour movie. After this, I'm going to go play Mass Effect or something to like get my mind off of this shit show. Just date myself a little bit there.
Right.
And I was like, pause it. I'm going to go get something to drink. He paused it, and I saw there was another fucking 90 minutes left, and I wanted to murder him. I wanted to murder him right there on the spot. That is my memory of Avatar, wanting to murder my friend Aaron.
Yeah. Fuck you, Aaron. I don't know who you are, but I'm just kidding. That's, Yeah, that I really don't have a whole lot to say that hasn't already been said about this movie for the select few that don't like it or aren't into it. But yeah, that's my first one. What's your first pick, buddy?
I'm gonna come out. I feel like all of mine are true hot takes, right?
Okay.
I very carefully cultivated my list here, but I'm not gonna. I got to build up first. And the first one I'm going to go with is a movie that came out, a horror movie that came out a few years ago that was insanely popular and everybody ranted and raved about, and that is It Follows.
Okay.
That is the most ham-fisted, god-awful fucking metaphor for sexually transmitted diseases I've ever seen. I hate the director. I hate everybody involved in it. I want them all to be put against the wall and shot like it's fucking behind the Iron Curtain. And I hate everyone that recommended the movie to me. I hate everybody that continues to recommend the movie to me and talk about how it's the greatest thing that's ever happened. And I'm just like, wear a condom and the fucking movie ends. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, I haven't seen It Follows, but I do know that it's held in.
Have you ever taken a health class?
Far too many. Yes.
Then you know about STDs. Therefore, you've seen It Follows.
Is it really a ham-fisted like uh, allegory for STDs?
That's, I mean, basically.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Since I'm into
I don't
wasting
know if
my
that's
own
what the
time.
intent was, but that's definitely what it came out as.
All right. Well, what are you gonna do? Not all of them are gonna be winners, I suppose.
That's
Um,
true.
but yeah, the next pick on my list is the Scream franchise. I guess continuing in the theme of horror movies. Um, I yeah, I don't get it. Like, for some reason, these are considered classics and classic slashers. I don't find them scary. I don't find them suspenseful. I find them kind of annoying.
I think that Scream is a really, really good intro
Uh huh.
and some really good ideas in the first movie that are surrounded by a lot of tropes that it's trying to send up and failing.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Wes Craven. Like, don't get me wrong. I think Wes Craven, was a genius
Right.
in a lot of ways. I just think that Scream is too meta for its own good. I genuinely think the intro of the first film is brilliant, absolutely brilliant,
Yeah.
and then the next however long is tedious. Like, you don't get to make fun of the rules that you wrote. You don't get to make fun of the rules as you follow them. Like, you
Yeah.
just, that's not, no, no.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just
And
one
then
of
there
those
just were
things.
too
We
many
get
sequels and the TV show, and now they're doing another reboot. It's too much. It just collapsed under its own weight.
yeah.
I think it's a
Stop.
good pick though because it is very well loved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyways, what's next for you?
I'm gonna knock out another horror movie here. This is another one that everybody ranted and raved about. It's a little older, and that is Hard Candy. There are no words to describe how much I hate this fucking movie, David. There's just not. I sat for like 30 minutes earlier when I was making my list, and I was like, what can I say about Hard Candy? And I was just like, fuck it. That's what I can say about it. Fuck that movie.
Oh, come on. You don't like Patrick Wilson as a fucking pedophile?
I don't like Patrick Wilson as anything, let alone a fucking pedophile.
Dude, I had no idea Patrick Wilson was in the fucking Aquaman movie. When I saw him, I was like, God damn it, Patrick Wilson. Like, will you stop showing up randomly in fucking movies?
How do you
Just,
keep getting fucking work, bro?
I mean, like, he's a good actor, but like, he just shows up. I'm like, like, just
Look,
took
just go
caught me off
make your
guard.
15 paranormal
Conjuring
activity
movies.
conjuring tangential films about possessions and just get your paychecks and fuck off. That's what you can do.
Yeah, we're the Westinghouse family, and we're ghost hunters. That's not the name of the family, but Westinghouse was the first. Okay, no.
Cool. I would have never known.
Yeah. I forget
All
their
right.
actual name.
No, none of this matters. Fuck them.
What? No, I'm actually curious to know why you don't like it, because I think I put myself through watching it just once, but I remember it because it's
That was
burned
enough.
into it's burned into my brain for eternity. Like, yeah, it was something else.
I think it's poorly written. I think it's poorly acted. I think it looks cheap. It's not scary. And I'm cognizant enough of the fact that I was never a young woman, so maybe it doesn't hit me like it does for young women, and
Mhm.
that's fine. You're allowed to feel a way about it the same way I do, and maybe it's more relevant to your life. So I mean, I'm like I said, I'm cognizant enough of that fact to admit that and understand it and accept that. But it's still a fucking terrible movie,
Yeah, it was the very
and no one
first
in it can act.
uh it was the first thing that I saw Ellen slash Elliot Page in, and it took me a long time to get over that. Like, I went from Hard Candy to Juno, and I was like, Wait, wait a second.
That's a
Like,
very confusing leap.
yeah, I was like, we're going from a fucking like quote unquote horror thriller to a Jason Reitman film. Just what is going on here? Um, so
I
yeah,
hate Juno too, actually, but that's
that I think that's a pretty good hot take.
yeah.
But yeah, anyways, you don't have it on the list. Um, if you don't
No,
have any more thoughts on that, I'll keep going with my
no.
list.
Let's just move right along. I'm annoyed enough.
um, so going back to one of our listeners' picks, Super Troopers. I don't find this movie funny at all, like in the least bit. Um, this movie came out and was super popular when I was in high school. And of course, I'm dating myself with
Same.
that one. But yeah, like everyone, just everyone in the hallways all day, every day, the snozberries taste like snozberries. And I'm like, will you shut the fuck up before I stab you in the neck with a knife? I don't get it. I'm sorry. I just don't get it. Um
No, I mean that's fine. Like
re-
like we've talked about 1,000 times, comedy is super subjective.
yeah.
I think these movies are hilarious. I don't like the schnozberries taste like schnozberries line. That's annoying. I agree, but generally speaking, I think the movie's fucking hysterical.
Maybe I need to give it another try. I don't know. Reno
I
911
feel
I
like
think is
Stoner
better.
David would. Reno 911 is amazing. Stoner David might have a different appreciation for Super Troopers.
Yeah. Lindsay seriously thought that something was wrong with me the night I started watching Reno 911, like the show. Like because I had
I
never
love that fucking show.
yeah, I had never sat down to watch it. Like I had seen the movie a billion times when it came out. Like
Mhm.
my brother was a huge Reno 911 fan, the show and the movie. And so when he got the movie, I watched it with him. But a couple months ago, I sat down to watch the show, and the very first scene, like the one of the dudes is responding to like a domestic dispute or something like that, and he walks in and all the lights are on and he turns the lights on and everyone from the police station is there and they're like happy birthday surprise and like he shoots one of his fucking friends and like I don't know
There's
why I thought that was so funny but I seriously like I was like coughing because I was laughing so much I just it
yeah.
killed me.
There's so many great like bits and so many great non sequiturs from that show that I
Yeah,
find myself thinking about still years after the show's been off the air. But yeah, I fucking love Reno 911,
yeah.
and I wish that those people, the cast of that, you still see some of them turn up. Like Thomas Lennon has had a pretty good career.
Hmm.
A couple of the other guys from the show, but a lot of the cast, supporting cast around them, like you don't see them in a lot of stuff as much anymore, and that kind of bums me out because I thought everybody on the show was fucking hysterical.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But anyways, what you got next?
um, I'll go ahead and knock this one out just because one of our listeners, Mimi, I believe it was, picked it already, and that's The Dark Knight. As much as I love this film, there's so many fucking problems with it that I just cannot overlook anymore.
Hmm.
The pacing is bad. Um, the Joker's plan makes no sense at all. And I've had so many people try to be like, well, actually, it does if you didn't. No, it fucking makes no goddamn sense whatsoever. I hate all the fan theories about it, which I really can't blame on the movie, but I'm bringing them up anyway. Like, it just, if you think about it for more than like 3 minutes, it falls apart. Yes, there's a lot of really cool scenes that does not a good movie make.
Yeah, I don't know. Um, I I don't know. I don't think I have anything to contribute because I mean I'll agree to a certain extent. Like some of the planning is like, would that actually work? I'm gonna blow up a hospital. I'm like, sure you are. Like that makes total sense, and how you'd be able to pull all that off. Like,
On
but
your own,
right.
basically.
It takes a lot of suspension of disbelief. But
Yeah.
You know.
I will say though, Batman throwing a mob boss off of a roof is probably gonna go down forever as my all-time favorite Batman on film moment.
Are you talking about that moment where he's like he pulls him up and he's like, I swear I don't know anything. Swear to me. Is
No,
that the
that's a good one too. That's from Batman Begins.
Oh
In the
yeah,
Dark
that's
Knight
right.
is where he takes I can't remember the mobster's name up on the top of the roof, and the guy's like trying to be a smartass, but he's like, "Oh, let me tell you, a fall from here won't kill me." He's like, "I'm counting on it," and he just yeets him off the roof.
Oh yeah, that's right. And you like see his like ankle buckle as he hits the
His
ground.
fucking legs snap like twigs. Yeah, that's a good one.
Right, and in the next scene, he's like up and at him, like he's got a cane or whatever. But no big deal.
Yeah.
Batman.
Again, the pacing is not good.
It just as a quick aside, if you want some great meme humor, go Google like Batman memes or whatever. Like one of my favorite is like a I think someone took like a Ken doll or a Barbie doll and like twisted the head around, and it's like Batman be like, okay, now talk.
Yeah. Batman, the type of dude to punch you in the throat would be like, talk.
Yeah. All the Batman jokes are pretty fucking hysterical.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good hot take. We talked a little bit earlier about Frozen. Yeah, anytime I hear someone singing Let It Go, I want to blow my fucking head off. Like, I know that's probably an
Buckle up, buddy, because
overreaction.
your daughter's almost to that age, man.
No, I'm going to do my best to make sure that she forgets what she saw this past weekend and just show her
Core
some
memory.
actual right. Just
It's a
show her
core
some
memory at this point.
actual good shit. I'm just gonna show her good movies this time. We're gonna try and do it this time this time around. Yeah, I don't know. Fucking Frozen. Why does it exist? why is this a thing?
Because
Well,
Disney likes money a lot.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be. Anytime I want to have a good time and do something fun, you make it not that. You are the silent killer. Go back to the annex. Anyways,
Moving right along.
done channeling my inner Michael Scott.
Yeah, this was my next pick was mentioned by a listener as well, and that is The Breakfast Club, or really any of those 80s teen movies. I hate all of those fucking movies. I
Mm-hmm.
just with an intense passion, but The Breakfast Club possibly most of all. And that is because the whole concept of the movie is about acceptance, but they don't accept the one girl until they make her over, which completely undermines their entire point, destroys the whole fabric of the movie. They're all terrible people, and I hate them. I hate their faces. I hate everything about them, even Molly Ringwald.
Yeah, I had never thought about that point that you made. I think you talked about that a little bit when we did our back
I've
to
talked about that on
school
a previous
series.
episode. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it was a little bit ago. That's a good point though. Like, it's all about acceptance, but here's this girl, and she's quote unquote ugly until, you know, we go in the back and we make her pretty, and all of a sudden, everyone wants to bang
She's
her.
popular now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's part of the group, because the hair's not in her fucking face. Um, what are you gonna do? It paved the way for the hot chick with the glasses, and then she takes the glasses off and she's hot again.
Oh yeah, that was the '90s movie
That
trope.
yes,
Yeah.
the '90s movie thing. It's who yeah, moving right along. Is that all you have to say on that one, Ted?
Do I need to say anything else, David?
Nah, no. Gravity. This fucking movie. I love space movies, but I didn't get it. I didn't like. They were talking about it being like a masterful, like cinematic experience and like a master in cinematography. Like I was like, I no, like I don't think this movie is good. Like, and everyone talks about how great
Yeah.
Sandra Bullock is. Like, she was great in Speed. Give me more Speed. Like, her and Keanu Reeves, just put them together in every single fucking movie until the end of time, okay? You can do that, but don't put her in Gravity, and don't tell me that she was like the white woman that saved the black dude from hitting the streets, and she was like, go play football. And
That was, I'm pretty sure that wasn't Gravity. I think that was The Blind Side.
yes, that's what I was referring to. Yeah,
Okay.
that was all in one movie.
Yes. It's a very complicated film.
Right, there's a lot of layers to it. It's like an onion.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I can't get into it because it would just be diving down this deep dark rabbit hole. So we're just gonna leave it at that. I don't think it's very fucking good.
Okay. All right. Well, David has some strong opinions about it. I respect that. This is going to get me in trouble, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Do it.
I hate the movie Forrest Gump. I hate it. I hate it so fucking much. I remember watching it when it was new and I was a kid and hating it then. Tried watching it again as an adult. I hated it even more. I wanted to pull Tom Hanks aside and be like, Tom Hanks, you look at me. You fucking look at me. You're better than this. You made big. All right? You've made good movies before. You'll make good movies again. This is a misstep that we should never talk about. But instead it wins a bunch of fucking Oscars and everybody acts like it's the goddamn second coming of films. Fuck that fucking movie.
I don't know. I like Forrest Gump, and I've gotten something different out of it. Like every single time I watched it, like, it was also funny to watch it like a bunch as a kid, and then grow up and have some distance between that time and then the next time I watched it, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's a lot of sexual stuff here that I did not pick up on.
Yeah. Also, fuck Jenny. Jenny sucks.
Yes. I'll never forget the fucking meme that I saw that was like, "Hey Forrest, now that I have AIDS, you want to get married?" Now that I
Now that I
shared a
fucked
bunch of
everybody else worth fucking.
right now that I shared a bunch of needles with everyone under the sun and pimped on
Right.
Skid Row, you know.
Now that I got the AIDS.
Yeah. Yeah, just fuck Jenny in general, you know. It's just
Yeah.
whatever. Another space movie, Interstellar. I'm not going to say I hate it, but it is definitely my least favorite Nolan film. I'm pretty sure this movie is responsible for me being partially deaf, because of the score. Like I remember being in theaters, and I went to go see it in IMAX for some reason. Probably because they said like, "Hey, you should go see this movie in IMAX because it's gonna be dope." And then it was like 3 hours of me being totally and utterly fucking confused.
Yeah, it's a puzzle box.
Anyways, jump back into it. What's your next pick, buddy?
My next pick is Rocky.
Okay.
I just don't get it, man. It's not a good movie. Are people from Philadelphia so fucking depressed that they have to have Sylvester Stallone as a fake boxer to look up to? Like, I just don't understand.
Doesn't he? So I haven't seen any of the Rocky movies. I know, shame on me, but like he literally beats his meat in those movies, right? Like he goes into his storage
There's
locker
a scene where
and
he fights a side of beef. Yeah.
so he literally beats
All the Rocky films are
the meat.
basically like montages of Sylvester Stallone doing sort of training and then fighting sort of for the last half hour.
Right. I will. I reserve the right to say that the only montage you need is the one in Threat Level Midnight, where he is working out, getting ready for the ice skating, and it's like, Because I'm running on ice. I'm running as fast as long. I think it's Billy Joel, but he was like pumping iron on his fucking what was that, the Bowflex?
Yeah.
So good. Anyways, God, can you tell that I have ADHD? No. Oh, look at a kitty. Anyways, uh, uh, is it? Yeah, it's my pick, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, it is.
Next up on my list is Back to the Future. This will probably get me in some hot water because I think this is
This
probably,
is a good hot take though.
yeah. I so once again, I don't hate this. I just I think I watched the first two and then I believe half of the third one.
Third one's
And
bad.
yeah, I couldn't make it all the way through the third one. I get why people like these movies, but I definitely say that these are movies you have to grow up with in order to appreciate or appreciate to
Yeah.
their fullest. And I did not grow up with these movies. I grew up with other movies. So yeah, I just they do not do anything for me. Um, uh, I remember finally sitting down to watch them, and I was just like I was trying to squeeze every last drop of it, where I just try and figure out why people liked these movies so much. I didn't get it. So yeah, that's it. Whatever.
Yeah. It's fun. It's not my favorite movie in the world, and I think it's a little overhyped, but I think it's a like I said, I think it's a great pick for this list because it's like basically. I think Mac mentioned this on the episode we did with him. It's basically like on everybody's short list of favorite movies. So I think
Yeah,
it's a fantastic pick.
yeah. I think he might throat punch me next time I see
That's all
him.
right.
Um,
He's a lot taller than you, so I think you're safe. You can probably just get around, kind of. Yeah.
right. Just
Yeah.
dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Watch a Rocky movie and then do what Sylvester Stallone does, and you'll be fine.
I'll just go practice beating my meat, and I'll be ready for him.
Yeah. Well, that's not okay. My next one is Star Wars, just kind of in general.
Okay.
I've never gotten the hype with these movies. I think maybe it's because like for the people that like grew up with Star Wars, and I mean grew up in the sense of like were kids when the first movie came out and went and saw it, like I understand sort of why they're so obsessed with it.
Mm,
Because if I saw something like that for the first time, more or less ever in a mainstream film with like that kind of production value, I'd probably shit my pants too.
mm,
I think part of the problem is just like it just never clicked with me. And as I got older and I started watching other movies, and saw what George Lucas cribbed from, I was just kind of like, oh, I'd rather just watch The Hidden Fortress, or like, I'd rather watch the '50s serial films or B movies, serialized films,
right.
that he stole from. So like, I don't know, it never clicked with me. And then it very quickly became just like a reason to make movies to make money, and now that's
Mm,
exactly what it is. Like with these soulless fucking cash grab films that Disney's put out over the last 5 years,
yeah.
and you know, here's what I'll say: I am not a famous or successful Hollywood producer person, but I have a little bit of what I like to call common sense, and that common sense tells me that maybe you have a plan when you launch a new fucking trilogy of films, and then you don't just go, yeah, give it to J.J. Abrams, and then we'll see what happens. I don't know, whatever, fuck it. Because when you do, you, you get J.J. starts a brand new movie that's basically Episode 4 retold,
Hmm.
and then you bring in Ryan Johnson, who's just like, I'm gonna be witty and
Weird.
go against the grain because that's what I do, man. And then it fucks everything up, and everybody hates it, and then other people have to prop it up, and then the third movie comes out, and it's a fucking disaster because nobody knows what's happening in the first two movies, and apparently there was some kind of Fortnite thing in between. I don't know. Figure the fuck out, Hollywood.
Yeah. I mean, those are some valid points. But I'm a family man with a wife and two very needy fucking kids, and a job and other responsibilities. So I don't really have time to, complain about petty bullshit like the money machine from Hollywood, and I don't know. I just gotta watch movies and take them at face value, I suppose. But here I am at the same time complaining about other shit. Which I guess we'll bring it back to my next and second to final pick, which is Sausage Party. Um, I remember. So granted, like no one's really talked about Sausage Party since this movie came out. It's not like
Yeah, pretty much.
it's not a super popular movie, but when it came out, like everyone was talking about it, and I watched it, and I didn't think it was very funny. Maybe it's just like a little, like the tongue in cheekiness was a little too surface level, and I don't know if it's possible for a movie to be too dirty for me, but it just I don't know, like the jokes got really old. I mean, it was all like
Yeah,
dick jokes, and I was just like,
yeah.
it's just enough already. Like,
It's lazy. It's lazy humor.
yeah,
My I agree. I don't like Seth Rogen that much. I don't think he's funny. I never really have. I've never understood how anybody else does either.
mhm.
Every movie that he's in that he's not the lead that I watch that I like, he's the weakest part of. I do not understand it, and that's pretty much my stance on Sausage Party. I just I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of talented people and funny people in the movie, and they can't
For
help it.
sure. Yeah. Whatever. Whatever. That's the
None of this
theme of this
matters.
episode. Just whatever. None of this matters.
Yeah, whatever. None of this matters. Just hand wave it away.
Yeah.
I know that you personally will be offended by this one, probably by my last two. And this one is The Nightmare Before Christmas. The fact that it's a technical achievement doesn't make it a good movie.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, if that's the metric for Avatar, if that's the metric for Gravity, that's the metric for The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's very impressive that they did all that with claymation and stop motion and all that. It's a fucking terrible fucking movie.
Um, I mean, it's the storyline itself. I'll give that to you. Like it's not the strongest storyline, but you know, it is it is a great technical achievement. Um, the effort that was put into it.
And
Well,
also, I'm gonna say this to all of you now my age, mid-30s people who shopped at Hot Topic from 2000 to 2010, who bought all the fucking Nightmare Before Christmas merchandise. It's not a personality, man. It's not a substitute for a personality.
right, like you can't just walk around with Jack Skellington like earrings and a belt and a shirt and pants and shoes. Um, you're like, this is me.
This was the original, like, this was, to me, this was the original, like, read another book thing. Excuse me. Like, that's what everybody talks about with when everybody brings up Harry Potter, like, read another book. And I'm like, shut up, let people enjoy things. They're not hurting anybody. But this was that before that, in a way. Not as
Sure.
big, obviously, but, like, I remember everybody being like, The Nightmare Before Christmas and Jack Skellington and Sally and this, fuck you and fuck them and fuck this movie.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it. I mean, it's yeah, one of those things. All right. My last pick, last but not least, it's actually two
Well, maybe
picks.
at least.
Right. I see what you did there. I kind of these are two separate movies and franchises, but they blend together for me, so I put them together. And that's Underworld and Resident Evil. There are decent movies in these franchises, but as a whole, I find them kind of boring, and they're all about the same shit. And I just like they all just run together, and I just don't care. Like, I
Yeah.
remember going to see, I think it was the second Resident Evil movie in college, and I was like, this is pretty neat. And then I just didn't give a shit about Resident Evil after that.
Yeah.
Uh,
I was so mad at the first movie because like I loved and love still like the Resident Evil series of games,
mhm.
and I was so hyped. I was like, they're gonna do a Resident Evil movie and it's gonna be good. And that is when I realized that the world is full of lies and broken dreams.
I walk a
Because that
lonely
movie is so
road.
fucking bad. Wake me up when September ends, bro. This movie sucks.
Yeah,
And
I
I
can't
remember
even.
the same thing about Underworld. I was like, oh, it's Kate Beckinsale in a skin tight leather outfit, and there's werewolves and vampires. And how do you fuck that up? How do you fuck all that up?
They found a way. They found a way.
They found a way. For like 8 movies, they found a way.
Yeah, I don't know how many they made. It was a few though.
Too
But
many.
yeah, those were my last picks. Um, so anyways, Ted, you got
All
one
right.
more?
This is my last pick, and it is perhaps my most controversial. This is maybe my most hated movie of all time. It is the dumb person's idea of a smart movie. There's nothing redeeming about this. There's no artistic merit behind it. The storyline makes no sense. I hate everyone involved in it. Even Morgan Freeman can't save this, and that is The Shawshank Redemption. It's tripe. It's piffle. It's garbage. It's all the bad things that a movie can be. It is.
Look at
Andy
you
killed
and
his
your.
wife. First of all, let's get that shit straight.
What
He's
was
not
that?
likable. How
Was
did he
that?
hang up the fucking poster?
That's a good question. I don't know.
How do you
Sticky
get?
tack?
How did the rock hammer work? I hate this fucking movie. I hate everything about it. And I hate that everybody loves it so much because it's so fucking terrible. I can excuse people liking like the Avengers movies because like okay, they're dumb and brainless, but like okay, they're fun. You just turn your brain off for a while, whatever. Like I can excuse people liking Joss Whedon's movies. No, I can't. That's that's stupid.
That's
But
where you draw the line.
I kind of get it, but this movie I just everybody is just like it's so intelligent. And I'm like, are you missing chromosomes? Like I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't. Shouldn't you be then like dissing Stephen King? Then I mean, this is his brainchild. I mean, I haven't read the novella, so I can't speak to its
I
accuracy.
mean,
And
he's not innocent. He's not innocent in this either. You know.
but we are talking about the
I
movie,
mean, look.
not the.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I
but yeah, that's my last one. I hate it. Thanks. I
is
hate it.
is this a bad time for me to say that I like the Shawshank Redemption?
It is in fact.
I'm just a simple man with a simple brain, and yeah, I don't know how he hung up that poster though. I'm gonna guess with like some sort of taping apparatus, some sticky tack. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. All right, so that's gonna be it for all our picks. Let's do our closing segment. That is shit that doesn't suck, and I believe I'm gonna go first. And I think I brought this movie up earlier in the episode, but I just recently finally got around to watching Aquaman for the first time. They had just added it to HBO Max, and I hadn't seen it. And since Zack Snyder's Justice League is just around the corner, thankfully, um, I wanted to at least say that I saw it. And I watched it, and it is it's not bad. I mean, obviously, I liked it a little bit because I'm classifying it as shit that doesn't suck. But yeah, it's not the best DC movie ever, but it is it's decent enough that you should watch it. So I'm doing a bang up job of selling this movie. Um, um,
It looks like a lot of fun. I haven't seen it, but it looked like a lot of fun.
So every scene, any scene in every scene that Jason Momoa isn't in is like utter garbage. Uh, as long as he's in it and he's in the scene, then it's pretty damn good. You know, he's not as charismatic as The Rock, but he's a lot of fun to watch.
Who is?
Um, I know, um, but I liked it. I thought it was fun. You know, it's right in line with most of the other DCEU movies that have come out. So, so yeah, that's it. Ted, what's your pick?
Right on. I've been on like this weird horror movie kick lately. I
Yeah.
don't know why. It's just it comes and goes, but I've been on a big kick of horror lately. I watched this film I've been meaning to see for a while. I finally got around to it, and it's called Climax. It's by Gaspar Noé, or I think that's how you say his name, Noe. He's French or Brazilian or French Brazilian. No, none of that matters. Um, it's basically all of these dancers get together in a warehouse, or well, it's not a warehouse. It's like an abandoned school to be part of this like dance troupe with a famous DJ and choreographer, and somebody spikes the punch more or less, and so then it turns into like a 90 minutes film about bad acid trip for everybody involved. It is terrifying. It is fucking terrifying, but it's amazing.
That's awesome.
There's yeah, it's terrifying but amazing. I don't know. It's tough to explain horror. Like you either get it or you don't. I think, but there's like a 20. I don't know. I want to say 20, but there's a very long scene at the start that's all one take, and it's very intricate. So I was technically impressed by that, and then it's just a good movie, as well.
And you caught this on Shutter. What wasn't it Shutter? You said watched it.
Uh, no, this one was on Prime, Amazon Prime.
Oh, okay, cool, awesome. Yeah, I'll have to add that to my list then. Uh, so yeah, I guess that's gonna do it for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate it. Like always, subscribe to the podcast if you haven't already. Leave us a rating and review where applicable. If you are feeling so generous to throw us some money so we can continue to do this without dipping into our own pockets, that would be excellent. We have a Patreon account. Link will be below in the description. And as always, be kind, stay geeky, and eat lots of cheesecake. Bye!